Hey guys, we're here doing an 18-hole flyover of Jeffersonville Golf Club. We're joined by Billy Mullen, head professional at Jeffersonville. We're going to get right into it here with number one. Billy, what are you thinking on this tee shot here for number one?
Well, I mean, dogleg left. If you get it over the first set of fairway bunkers, you can get the ball up around the corner pretty easily. But the main thing is not being blocked out on the left side by the trees there to the approach on the green.
And then we got these bunkers just short left of the green. One of the tougher greens on the course.
One of the tougher greens on the course for sure. The hole is designed so that, if you miss it right of those approach bunkers, that the ball will tend to funnel down towards the front left of the green. But depending on where that pin placement is, certainly dictates a lot of times where you want to leave that, approach shot if you're missing the green.
On to number two. Probably could not be any more different than what you saw on number one. Talk me through this hole a little bit.
Yeah, so obviously much shorter, but the main thing with this hole is the large set of fairway bunkers on the right side. Obviously, you need to stay away from them as much as possible, but also you want something that is going to be more of a full shot into that green. It's an elevated green. It's typically firmer, so you want something that's going to have a little bit more spin to be able to hold that approach shot.
All right, and then we are on to number three. Another shorter par four uphill. What do you think about three?
Shorter par four. Again, very similar to number two. Keep it left of the fairway bunkers on the right-hand side, but you want to miss this fairway on the left-hand side for sure. No matter where the pin is on that green, the best angle to come in from is the left side of the fairway or the left rough, even if you miss the fairway.
All right, first par three of the day here, number four.
The shortest par three on the course, but also probably one of the smallest greens on the golf course. False front area, so if the pin's up front, it's very easy to have the ball, come back off the front of the green. But this one, really, you're just trying to hit the center of the green if possible to give yourself a good look at birdie.
All right, number five. Back to a par four here. One's working a little bit right to left. It seems like, too, depending on the tee box, it sort of dictates what sort of shot you need to hit.
Yeah, it certainly does. I mean, depending on if you're playing the back tee, you have to hit more of a draw off that tee box. If you're not playing the back tee, you can hit a pretty straight tee shot, and the fairway will typically slope left to right to keep it away from those fairway bunkers on the left-hand side. This one, kind of opposite of number three, you really want to miss on the right side of the fairway or even the right rough to give yourself a good angle coming into that green.
Also, one of the more interesting greens with the two pretty distinct tiers.
Two
with
distinct
the higher
tiers.
one on the right.
Yes, two distinct tiers. One of the larger greens on the golf course, but even with how much undulation there is on that green, there's two totally separate areas to play to.
All right, number six, first par five of the day. Definitely requires a bit of a different sort of tee shot.
Again, depending on the tee box that you're playing from, will kind of dictate what your line is off the tee. But for most average golfers, you're going to keep it left of that fairway bunker at the corner to give yourself a good angle for, a layup to an easy approach shot. The green on this hole is really, for a better player, it's the biggest defense. It's a very large green, but sloped heavily front to back. And if that pin is on the back half of the green, it's very, very important to just hit the front side of the green and putt uphill to it.
All right, tougher par four here. Uphill, doglegging left. What's your thought process when you're teeing off on number seven?
Yeah, I mean, number seven's one of the toughest par fours on the golf course, in my opinion. It seems that the prevailing wind is always into your face off that tee. And with that, set of fairway bunkers on the left-hand side there, better players can carry those, and if you can carry that on the line that you're hitting it, usually leaves you around 100 yards or just inside 100 yards. But for your average golfer, playing out to the right of those fairway bunkers leaves you a longer approach shot. And again, it just seems like the wind is always into your face on that hole, which leaves you in a long approach shot, and then a long approach shot to a fairly narrow green, depending on where the pin is, with a lot of good greenside bunkers that surround it.
All right, we are on to number 8, second par 3. Very, very different than the fourth hole here. Talk us through 8.
Yeah, much different than 4. One of my favorite holes on the course. Depending on the tee box that you're playing, could play anywhere from 200-ish yards to 150 yards. The green is very demanding. It doesn't look that severely sloped from back to front, but there is a lot of slope from front to back on that green. So with the new construction of expanding that green a little bit and the false front approach there, anything that comes up just a touch shorter on the front half of that green can roll back down into the water. This is one of the greens here where if you miss the green right, you're not that upset about missing the green. That's kind of the easiest spot to get up and down from. Similar to what we'll talk about with 15 in a little bit here, where missing the green isn't necessarily a bad thing, depending on where the pin placement is.
Finishing up the front 9 with another par 4.
Yeah, I mean, another par 4 where Donald Ross designed a well-placed fairway bunker. Longer hitters can hit it over that fairway bunker and cut the corner a little bit, but also then a second placed fairway bunker where if you hit it too far through it, you'll end up in that, which leaves you just a very difficult 50 to 60 yard fairway bunker shot, which is very difficult. But one of the shorter par 4s, if you play it out to the fat part of the fairway left of the fairway bunker, you're left with a fairly easy approach shot in. You just cannot miss this green long left.
Shorter par 4 here for number 10, although I know with the new back tee, it's made it a good bit tougher with the length. Talk me through number 10.
Yeah, so the new tournament tee adds about 40 yards to that tee shot, which will make a difference for the better player playing from back there. But for the most part, this is probably one of the easiest par 4s on the golf course. Fairly generous fairway, slopes left to right, so sometimes depending on the conditions the ball can funnel down into the right rough, but anything on the right side of the fairway, right rough, leaves you a pretty good angle to an approach shot. The biggest thing with this hole is, again, not hitting it long, sloped back to front, and the front half portion of this green, a little bit of a false front, really runs off the front. So again, another approach shot where you just want to be, front half of the green. But for the most part, this is probably one of the easier par 4s on the golf course.
All right, crossing the parking lot and on to number 11.
Great golf hole. Not too difficult off the tee, with the addition of the infield on the right there, the moguls. It makes things a little bit more difficult. The 2 fairway bunkers, obviously, you need to stay away from. But anything, left side of this hole off the tee is a pretty easy approach shot. The green is the biggest defense on this hole, depending on where the pin is. 2 tiers again, slopes heavily front or back to right, or back to front and right to left. But for the most part, hit the fairway, get it up again short of the green, and leave yourself with an easy chip shot, or that ball will typically tend to, if you do hit the green, funnel down into the left side there.
All right, third par 3 of the day here with number 12.
Yeah, number 12 used to be the 18th hole back in the day. For the most part, this green, you really just want to miss it front right. There's a little mound there on the front left of the green, depending on the pin placement. If it's on the left side, it makes things a little tricky pitching up to that green if you miss it left. but a pretty generous green, not severely sloped really in any way. Just try and get the ball to, kind of roll up on the front half of the green there, and you got yourself a pretty good chance at birdie.
All right, another one of the tougher holes on the course, I think, here with number 13.
13 is probably my favorite hole on the golf course. Just well designed. We recently took some trees down on the left-hand side of the fairway there, but you still have got those two left-hand fairway bunkers, which are very difficult. But longer hitters will typically try and get the ball down to the end of the fairway there over the hill. But your average golfer's playing from the top of the hill there. And this one, I mean, if you do hit a good tee shot, you're still looking to really just get the ball on the green in a spot where you're below the hole so you can putt uphill at the cup. Anything long here is just absolutely dead. Severely sloped back to front on this green. So approach shot has to be on the front half side, if not just short of the green.
All right. Another hole, we mentioned this before, where you do not want to miss long after this tee shot, 14.
Yeah, one of the shorter par fours, out of bounds on the left-hand side, so it makes things a little bit more difficult off the tee, but for the most part, a pretty generous fairway. Again, well-placed fairway bunkers on the left-hand side, but as we keep repeating here, the green is the biggest defense on this hole. 2 tiers, front right really falls off the front side of the green there. Anything pin placement wise that's on the the left side of the green, you just kind of got to pitch up to the right portion of the green and have a putt uphill or chip uphill to the hole. Anything past this pin, very easy to put the ball off the front of the green.
Last par 3 of the day, number 15.
Definitely the most difficult par 3 on the golf course. You're right about 215 yards. Probably one of the few holes in golf that I've ever played where you actually will intentionally miss the green sometimes. Severely sloped from back to front. Anything on the front half of this green will roll off, and if you are past this pin by even 2 feet, you can putt the ball off the front of the green and have a 20-yard pitch shot coming back up. So the only spot on this hole, back left, if the pin is back left, if you do miss it long, it does chip back uphill a little bit there, but anywhere else on this green, you just want to miss it short and have an easy uphill chip.
All right, over to the 16th hole.
16 is one of the birdie holes on this golf course. All starts with the tee shot. Again, another well-placed fairway bunker on the left-hand side there that kind of shapes the hole a little bit, but not very long. Hit the fat part of the fairway, and then you got an approach shot to probably one of the easiest greens on the golf course. Not really heavily sloped front to back, and pretty generous in size. So if you can get the ball somewhere in the fairway on this hole, you should have a pretty good chance of hitting the green and having a chance at birdie.
All right, we're going to cross the street here and head to the 17th.
17 is the number 1 handicap hole. Very difficult tee shot. Again, seems like the wind is always into your face on this hole. Devastating fairway bunkers on the right-hand side at the corner of the fairway there. If you hit it in those, most likely you're just chipping out to the fairway, short of the crick. If you can fly it over those bunkers, you've got usually about a pitching wedge in your hand, but anything left of those bunkers, to stay away from them, makes the hole a lot longer. Not an overly difficult green, pretty flat for the most part, probably one of the flattest greens on the golf course, but also one of the bigger greens. So if you find the fairway on this hole, you really just want to hit, the middle of the green here and give yourself an opportunity for, a relatively easy putt.
This is the one we get the most messages and DMs about. And Richie's always been a pretty popular guy, but this is probably the hole where he is least popular.
Yeah, 18. I mean, definitely one of the more talked about holes on the golf course, mostly for the green, but don't sleep on the tee shot either. The green is the last thing that people remember from this hole, so that's what they tend to talk about. But the tee shot's a very good tee shot here. Longer hitter definitely has to hit a draw right to left off the tee box. Can hit it through the fairway, but hit it over the fairway bunkers there. And then, you know, if you're not going for the green in 2, you've got a second set of fairway bunkers that you've got to either play short of or left of. The tree coming down this year has changed things a little bit. It's opened it up visually, but still, regardless, if you're going for the green in 2 or on your third, you know, approach shot into the green, you have to just be left side of this green, short of it if possible. Severely sloped front to back and right to left. Anybody who's played this course knows that, you know, it's almost impossible to keep anything up on that right side of the green there. So everything funnels down to that front left corner. So, you know, the best way to approach this green is from that front left side there, where you can kind of chip uphill to any of the pin locations and give yourself a chance to have a putt uphill for, you know, either par or birdie.